Johannesburg's Mayor Mpho has welcomed a court ruling basically interdicting a special sitting that was called by councillor and the Chair of Chairs, Colleen Makhubele. In the ruling late last night, the court said Makhubele was not the acting speaker and has also been barred from holding any statutory functions of that position. Makhubele claims that to be the rightful acting council speaker following the ousting of Vasco da Gama earlier this month. Phalatse held a briefing a short time ago. Our reporter Mbali Thethani was there. She joins us now live, Mbali, to tell us more about the reaction from the Johannesburg mayor. What was expected to happen if the sitting had gone ahead was that possibly a motion for her removal would be tabled, right?
That's certainly right, Tembegile. Of course, we were expecting political parties to deliberate on whether, they would be replacing Vasco da Gama as speaker, and also the issue around Mpho, but that has now been brought to a halt because of the outcomes of the High Court just late last night, declaring that Colleen Makhubele is not the acting Speaker of Council, and of course that position remains vacant, and it will be then the councillors of the Johannesburg Council who will then have to go back and either elect an acting speaker or elect a speaker of the House. But at the same time, seeing that press briefing a bit earlier on by the mayor herself saying that what had played out in the courts was just a waste of time. And of course, Colleen Makhubele is someone not to be trusted because they've also said that they will be bringing a motion of no confidence against her as the chair of chairs in council. Let's take a listen to what Mayor Mpho had to say when it comes to the reaction of that court ruling last night.
The Johannesburg multi-party government welcomes the judgment handed down by the Honourable Judge Gcina Malindi in the High Court, which is in line with the position that we have held. Judge Malindi ruled that the notice issued by the Chair of Chairs, Councillor Colleen Makhubele, for an extraordinary sitting of council to sit on Tuesday, the 13th of September 2022, which is today, is invalid, null and void. Furthermore, that the meeting called for Tuesday has been interdicted from taking place. The ruling went on further to state that contrary to what Councillor Makhubele and her allies believe, she is not the acting speaker and is interdicted from holding herself out as purporting to be exercising any of the statutory functions of the acting speaker. The city and the multi-party government have long contended that the office of the speaker remains vacant until such time the city manager convenes a sitting of council to elect an acting speaker or speaker of council from among the members of the House.
Well, Tembegile, we continue to give you a reaction on the outcomes of that High Court ruling just last night and the city of Johannesburg itself. But we are now joined by Thapelo from the party Al Jama. Thapelo, we've seen that court ruling that came out last night, because you would also know that today there was expected to be that council sitting, which is something that you as this political party wanted to see. What is your reaction to what we have seen so far when it comes to the outcomes of this court matter?
Thank you so much, Mbali. Good day to you and the viewers at home. First and foremost, we would like to welcome the court ruling. So we're just hoping from the Al Jamaa and the minority opposition parties in the city of Johannesburg, we're just hoping that whichever judgment that came out didn't come out of human error, because there are certain technicalities that we think or assume that they were not applied. We remain resolute. We're still supporting the Chair of Chairs. It's not a loss as yet. I should say it's a first attempt in learning, because there's still another council sitting towards the end of this month. So let me also cite on what you've said earlier to say, I think the mayor said the court process was a waste of time in a way. So I should also categorically state that this would be entirely amongst other issues that would trouble us as the opposition, on the basis that it is the taxpayers' money. It is maladministration. The city has incurred the costs for those proceedings in court. So you can't come back and say it was a waste of time. why did you take the city there as an applicant before? Because you would have anticipated a certain set of results, which is, I think, the court ruled on their favor. But if they come back today and say it was a waste of time, it is worrisome.
The issue around Colleen Makhubele being the acting speaker, that has now been clarified. You, as the minority parties, when it comes to her position, we've heard from the DA, we've heard as well from the city itself and Action SA saying that they will be bringing a motion of no confidence in Colleen Makhubele, and they are saying that they have the numbers. Do they have the numbers?
It's a hang municipality. The city of Johannesburg is a hang municipality. They cannot ascertain whether they do have numbers or they do not have numbers. What I'm trying to indicate is that it's a constant lobbying. Whether you need to lobby even when you are governing, you need to constantly visit your partners and talk to them. So I wouldn't know what guarantees do they have that they do have those numbers, because if they had those numbers, they would have allowed the proceedings today, the council to sit and use those numbers to remove the chair of chairs, who's the acting secretary, or to vote in their speaker today in today's proceedings.
All right, thank you very much. Of course, that is Thapelo Ahmed. He is from Al Jama, saying that when it comes to the issue of Colleen Makhubele, we've seen from Funzi Ngobeni, who's part of that multi-party coalition, saying that they will indeed be bringing a motion of no confidence against Colleen Makhubele, and that sitting is expected towards the end of this month. And of course, at the same time, there is the issue around replacing the Speaker, Vasco da Gama. But for now, we've heard from Phalatse saying that the acting, or rather the city manager, will then act in that position for now.
Mbali, Thethani, thank you very much for that update on the latest dramatic developments in the Johannesburg Council.